so you guys arrived on time, and other folks may drift in, and that's quite okay. I'm Paula Olesen. I have been president of this club since its inception. This year that will change because I'm looking to move into past president because that sounds like a really cool role. But anyways, so the garden started in 20 and 21, kind of during COVID is when they basically, shut down the world. They wouldn't even let people walk on the walkway, but they did let Raleigh and his then wife come in and start the trees. So some of these trees have been here since kind of the spring of 20. Others are much, much newer. You can tell usually by its size because we lost quite a few things during Helene and then Milton. But compared, and there are pictures I think on the website of what this looked like after the hurricane. Mother Nature is wonderful and it brings things back. And she's done a really good job. Plus there's a real great dedicated group of volunteers that make sure that this stays pretty for you. So today we're going to do propagation of many different ways that can be done other than air layering. But I'd like to start with containers because whatever you decide you're going to propagate, eventually it either needs to move into some fancy pot, or if you have the ability to put things into the ground, then that's always obviously the very best way to do that. But many of us live in HOAs with rules, and you have to ask permission, and usually you get denied, and so you get pots because most of the time they can't say no. So lots of different things that one can plant in depending upon what it is that obviously you want to plant. And I just brought some of the things that I have done them in. Plastic is always the thing that we've got. So if you've got something, then use it. If you don't like the color, and especially if it's black, can a spray paint, lay it out and spray paint. You can make it whatever color you want versus it being black. Why am I harping on black? Yes, dark colors absorb the heat. Her shirt is going to absorb much more heat than mine are. We're probably both going to sweat underneath it, but hers is going to absorb more heat. White is actually, or lighter colors are what are advocated for you. So now I have an affinity for royal blue. So what I do is put a layer of white over that. So I still get a blue hue through it, but I've lightened the pot. And why are we concerned about how much heat a pot gets? It burns the roots. Literally, when you're sitting in a pot that is dark and the sun is beating on you, this Florida sun, it is absorbing and eventually it can burn your roots and kill your plant. I think I have a coral honeysuckle that it has decided to do that because it was a lovely plant and it has decided to curl up and die. And I'm going to dig it up and see what the root's like, and I'm feeling that it's probably a good thing. Everything else was good. So use what it is that you have, and it depends too on what it is that you want to plant. Now, if you are doing vegetables, that's a whole nother story, and that's a whole nother story we'll do in August. But if you are doing perennials, remember most perennials get larger. So if you put it in a little pot, it's going to quickly outgrow that, and it's going to be stunted, and you may lose it, depending. So think about how big is this going to get when you put it in a pot, whatever. You're going to use ceramic. Ceramic breathes somewhat, but most of them glazed on the outside, which is going to prevent a lot of that breathing of the pot. Clay is great, however, it breathes out the moisture that's on the inside very quickly. So remember that that pots you're going to have to probably water every day or every other day. Unless you've got a nice irrigation system that you run through them, and then your life is much, much easier. That's still a goal of mine. I used to do a lot of things with succulents, and succulents you can grow in anything because they don't have much of a root system. So this could be a very fancy looking little succulent container with things that you know only have an itty bitty root to them. So you could do something like this. This has already had succulents in it, and they decided to expire on me, so I just thought I would bring the container. And all I did was take the roof off. So those old birdhouses that maybe your birds have decided they really don't like your birdhouses, well, make them into a planter. And that's what this was.
Right, stab me right in the butt.
What's wrong with this pot? No drainage. So, if I were going to use this pot, what I would do is put something that does have a drainage in it. And I would not have it outside. Might have it on my lanai, might have it inside, so that if it does get too much water inside, I could dump it out. And putting another pot inside allows me to do that easily without hurting what I've got in my pot. Obviously, it'll be a bigger pot than this. Anyway. Baskets are great, especially for succulents. Maybe not, and for using on your lanai or someplace that's a little bit covered. But they work really well. A lot of times I'll put some cocoa fur in here, one of those liners or some pieces of the liner, just to pull my dirt in a little bit better for my soil. But all kinds, and you know how many pretty baskets there are out there. That could become a really cool succulent. And colanders are just fun. Just fun. And it's easy to find them. Go through any thrift store. When I used to do a lot of succulent gardens, thrift stores and I were my friends, or flea markets and or yard sales, because you find all kinds of really cool containers which you may bring home and decide never to use, but then again, you might. Now this has the same issue as this does with, at this point, having no drainage. However, it is rusted enough that I can tell you it does actually drain because it will not hold water. But you can do something like this and hang it at an angle. So your flowers would drape out of here. Okay. My partner's daughter did this up in Virginia, and she had just hung it because she was using it as a watering can. A family of bluebirds decided that they would nest in it. And because this can gets very hot, she was putting an umbrella up to help to protect the little ones from being quite so hot. So she worked very hard on her particular container. So those are just a few and just a few thoughts. Now, lots of things that we can do for propagating, and lots of different things that we can propagate. I threw out some of these because a friend gave us a bucket of turmeric. This is ginger. It is a flowering ginger, but not an eating ginger. So if you were to take these, and feel free if you would like to put some of those up, is you want to look for the growth nodes. So when he first gave us these, they didn't have any, so you couldn't tell which ones were where the node was going to be. Now you can, and you could actually make 2 out of this if you wanted to by just slicing it. Now you've got 2 plants that you can separate instead of 2 plants that are going to be pretty close together.
Where did you keep them
When they sprout?
Where did you keep them?
Yeah, how do you make them sprout?
that in this underneath that grow table.
For this air,
Yes.
humidity, and
Yes. Now if you buy some and you're not going to plant them right away, and you might want to put them in a cool environment. I store mine in my wine refrigerator because it's not as cold as my regular refrigerator. But primarily these are very forgiving, and this has got 2 nodes here. It's also got a node here. Now I could plant it like this, or I can break this off, and now I've got 2 different spots. Yes. Yep, just a little bitty bump. He may not make a big plant this year, but he will at some point. And before I plant this, there would be 2 things I would do. One is to let this dry, so it scabs over. Otherwise, what is this? A receptacle for bacteria and infection. Yeah. Let it dry. So I would leave this out for at least a day until this is dry and has no moisture. And then the other thing, if I wanted to protect it, I didn't bring it, but I like cinnamon as a way for putting over things that have been cut. If I have to cut my plumeria, I sprinkle some cinnamon over the cut area. It helps to keep infection out. Yep. So I buy 2 cans of cinnamon, one for the garden and one for cooking. So that would work. Yes. And of course, these are not planted very deep. Most YouTubers are not. If you do this with dahlias, which are another really cool one to do. You've got some good dahlias, don't bother to go buy others, just look at where the nodes are. And in spring you don't know. So put them on the soil and let them start to pop their nodes. Then you can decide where I want to cut it to make multiples. Especially if you put them in your garden and actually planting them, you want to make sure you give them some space.
And so how deep would you do, like a thumb or something?
For deep,
Yeah, how deep?
I would set this in, and I wouldn't put more than a half an inch across those of soil.
So
That's all it
sticking
needs.
out.
It's almost sticking up. If you can actually lay it so that it's kind of, these are right even with the soil, that's fine. But I usually put about a half an inch over. They'll pop up through that quite nicely. So that's one. You can take your perennials, and once they've got a good clump, take that clump out of the pot. You can tease pieces apart, or you can literally cut them apart with a sharp, clean knife. And your knife, you always want to have a bottle of alcohol with you. That's how you clean the implements that you're using in your garden or using for propagation. You're using a knife. After you use it, give it a spray. Let it dry. Right? It keeps your implements not the carriers of disease. And a lot of us, when we're out there cutting things, we're cutting things off that maybe are disease. And we may know what that is, we may not know what that is. So this is just a good safety mechanism to do that. That's what we do with our
70%, right?
That's what we do with all of our implements that we use today in the garden. We'll wash the basic soil off from them using the sink and a brush, and then before we store them, we will clean them give them a spray of alcohol, because they're going to sit in the shed until we come out again on Tuesday. It's in it reading, whatever. Alrighty, now. Some of them don't look very pretty. And this one here is actually sending up nodes in the middle. So he would definitely need to be cut. This is another one of those really pretty pieces to plant in. Small plant, but it needs something round. It needs something in the middle so that you can dump it. Unless you really are good at controlling your watering. Some people are really good at controlling their water. I'm not. So I know I need help, so I make sure that I have help. All right, things that we might propagate. This is African milk tree is what this is called. And these have been sitting in here for a while. When I pulled them out this morning, a couple of them said, nope, we did not make it. But a good way to know when they have is if you tug it and it doesn't give, then that means it's got roots down there holding. The two that I pulled out had no resistance, none whatsoever. And I said, all right. And this particular one puts out the little leaves at the top, which makes it a little prettier than these guys, which do not do that. They just proceed to have hookers. If anybody would like a piece of this later, they can have that.
Does it have flowers?
They don't have flowers. No. Which is why I at least like this one because it puts out a leaf, which for it is its flower. It just is
Does it
not.
get big?
They get very big. They can get all of them.
Slow growers or fast growers?
Slow growers. Takes years for them to do that. It seems like it only takes them a couple of years though to get this size. I have a couple of pots that are like that. All right, other things that can be done. Anyone know what this is by any chance? Sweet potatoes. Yes. I have another garden at Kings Point where we live, and I at one year planted sweet potatoes. Once you plant sweet potatoes, we know from here, is you will always have sweet potatoes because there's always a root you do not get. And I thought I had really done very well because I had a wonderful crop last year. It just did its own thing. But these are probably one of the easiest to propagate. This has been sitting in water for 3 days and you can already see the roots started.
3 days only.
3 days.
Wow, can you see that?
No. They're little, they're just little white bulbs, but that's how it starts. The others probably are not. Now, because these are really a very forgiving kind of starting plant, this one here is already starting its roots as well, is taking a cutting and putting it in water is probably the easiest way to propagate it. And if anybody wants to do a sweet potato, we'll give you a pot and you can pot it up and take it home. This variety is orange. So it's the orange flesh. The orange flesh. Because remember, sweet potatoes, you can buy it with purple flesh, orange flesh, white flesh. It just depends upon the variety that you happen to use. This one I know is orange.
We have some purple here in the garden. If anybody would like purple cuttings, we have plenty growing here for purple.
Yeah.
So what grows well here?
It's good too.
In terms of sweet potatoes? All of them?
All of them. You plant them in the spring, real early summer, and give them about 6 months of growth, and then you're ready to harvest. During the summer, you eat the leaves. You can eat the blossoms. They put out a beautiful blossom. Looks a little bit like
The flowers
glory.
good?
But these are extremely nutritious. Put them in your salad. Put them in your stir fries.
The big ones too?
Oh yes, any of the leaves. That's how I keep mine trimmed.
The leaves are good in salads?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said you keep them trimmed.
And I keep them trimmed because they will take over your
Yeah,
world.
they will.
Yes.
And then more
They're-
energy goes to the tuber, right?
Yes, it does.
So you
Yeah.
need to keep it trimmed.
Instead of
And
to
Makes
the
a
vine.
bigger
I'm just saying.
They like really crappy soil too.
Yeah, they'll grow on anything.
Right.
They don't care about the soil. Like they don't need a lot of nutrition in the soil. Yeah, they're not picky.
That's your
No, they are
plant.
not
Yes.
picky at all.
So is
No.
there a point to doing it like this instead of just like growing it out of the sweet potato? Like you know the ones where you see like people
The
put like
whole-
a sweet
whole
potato in
potato?
water. Yeah, and then like they grow like. Is
That's
there
where
The
you get
potato
these-
grows?
Yeah,
well,
the whole
like, yeah, like
potato.
it just grows like the leaves out of it. Like is it
Oh,
better?
you could do
does it
that
matter?
if all you want to do is just harvest the leaves. Although at some point the water's not going to have enough nutrition to support a lot of growth.
So that would just be if you wanted to grow like leaves. This would be if you want to make a potato.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do that with, you can grow slips out of an older potato,
Yeah.
and then you put it, then you take the slips off, put it in water for a few days, and then you put it in the ground.
Okay, so
It's not like a normal potato where you can stick like a whole one in the ground and grow. Yeah.
I have a whole bag of sweet potatoes that I didn't use, and they like this long
Sprout.
sprouts.
What
Do I
do
just
we
stick
do
that
with
in
it?
the ground,
Hey,
the whole
here you
potato, or do I cut those things off?
Put my
I
potato
usually
off.
cut them so there's
Yeah.
an eye per section.
And then I have to put that in water.
You can put it in water, or you can
Rooting hormone.
let it dry just a little bit, then put some rooting hormone on it, and then put it in the ground. You don't want to necessarily put that in as a raw area, because again, you now have a portal for infection.
But I guess I could just stick all of it in the ground.
You could, but then you're going, if you really want to have potatoes, then you're going to have a bunch that are all really snug together, and you probably won't get as good a
That
size
would be near.
potatoes.
Okay. We're gonna have a lot
A lot of potatoes she is going to have. All right. Before I go any further, I'm going to talk about what is it that you want to actually plant into when you propagate, when you take a cutting. This time of the year, you can take basil cuttings, you can take your impatiens, you know, that one with that pretty leaf that just gets wild and crazy and then wants to blossom, and when it blossoms then the plant gets ugly looking. At least that's my experience. Those are some of the easiest things in the world to propagate, to take cuttings and put them into water and let them root. Or you can actually put them into your medium, which is your planting component. Now, several of the things that I was reading in preparing for this, and it is something that we have not done, but I have started to do, we've not done it here in the garden, is using a peat-free starter mix. The starter mixes that you buy in the store all have a peat base. Now, why would I not want a peat base? Hmm?
It's acidic.
It's acidic, so that can hurt some plants.
It's bad for the environment.
It's bad for the environment because that
The way
peat
they
is
get it,
coming
not
out
bad
of a
for
peat bog in Canada or Australia or wherever there are peat bogs, and eventually they're not going to be there. They serve a purpose in that ecosystem. So we are depleting a natural resource. And eventually there will not be peat because we will have harvested it all from bogs. So ecology for the ecosystem, not necessarily a really good thing. Another thing that happens with it is it likes to retain water. And some of your plants and your seeds do not like to have a whole lot of retention of water. Makes them too soggy. And it compacts the soils. Things compacted, don't let those little fine roots from your new cutting to wiggle out and grow. If I'm compacted, I can't. I'm squished between two people in the bed, I can't move. So that's the way your plant feels. So some alternatives are, and both of these I have used and I like. Never mind that this says it's a dog food. It's because this container actually I think has a leak in it. Yes, it does. It was in another one which also has a leak in it. But vermiculite, oh yes. See, and this isn't even in the right thing. So this has moved several times because it had holes in its bag. But the thing I really like is vermiculite. And what's vermiculite? What's it made of?
We did this last time. What was it?
This is volcanic pieces. Yes. So it is full of air holes because that's what volcanic rock is. It's full of air holes. So if I blow that blows nice and easy. If I were to take some soil out of our bucket over there, I cannot blow it, and have it go. All right? So this I like a lot for starting. Pass that around, look at it. So once you wet it, it doesn't take much water,
I add it to the soil.
and it will retain the water, but it also retains oxygen. The roots of your plant not only need moisture, not only need something that is sterile, and that is sterile, but it also needs oxygen. So this will take water, and as the water leaves, it leaves a hole, and then that's your oxygen for your roots.
How much do you need to put? How much do you need to use?
We'll get to that. Yep, for sure. The other thing is cocoa coir, and I have now become a cocoa coir lover, actually. Again,
Cocoa curl?
this
Cocoa
cocoa
coir,
coir, C-O-I-R. So this is from the shell of your coconut. And folks have made a business of this, of shredding and making wonderful. Comes usually, doesn't usually come like this, already done. Comes in a block. Some of the blocks are big. I made the mistake of getting a really big one and putting it in a too small a container. And I added the water to help it to come back to being a viable something I can use to plant in.
Use it instead
So
of
it starts out as a solid block. That's how they make. That's how they sell it. That's how if you ordered it online.
Mix it in the soil.
yeah, it's like your base instead of
This has got a little bit of moisture, not very much. If you feel it,
It's like a
pretty dry.
It's like coffee ground.
It's a bit like coffee grounds, only a little finer.
Just in texture,
Yeah.
right? It's not like,
Yes.
So this isn't the same thing as like those things that are on the palm trees that are the things you do in baskets. That's different. That's also from the
That's a
palm.
little bit different. That's not processed down to make the coconut coir. You can wet that, but you have to be real careful of where you bought it and whatever, because they tend to put some kind of a coating on it. And I tend to find it then it doesn't really retain.
We have it in our garden. Three times like do that.
You'd have to grind it up.
Right. Could you grind it up?
Probably so. But I would probably
So if
I would probably use that as a mulch.
Okay.
Okay,
That's what we do.
you can use it on the top of the plants. Okay.
Like on the top of your pot or on the top
Yeah,
of
'cause
your soil.
I did that, but and it doesn't hurt because I did that to keep my cats out of my soil.
That's
You
clever.
did it?
Yeah, they'll
clever.
dig my.
So
So I
true.
used the old ones to put on top, and it holds the moisture, like watering, like pothos or something. You know what I mean? So that's all right.
I would probably use it.
Yeah.
I think it would be
Dig
too
in, like,
laborious for you and I to
Grind it up.
figure out how we're going to
Three
grind
little-
that up or whatever. Now,
Yeah,
the
that's
thing
cool.
with the coconut coir is, yes, it retains some water and whatever. It will, if it's not kept evenly moist, get pretty thick compacted. So your other friend,
They don't like
I said vermiculite, didn't I? I got vermiculite on the brain. Perlite.
They're very bad.
Doesn't take much of the perlite. This one is a little bit dusty, which is why we've got a mask if we're doing a lot of mixing, and we actually wear a mask so we're not breathing the powder, which is not too good for you to breathe. No. Let's see.
it's like a pop, like volcanic rock. They like pop it like popcorn, and so it's really light and fluffy. They like heat it up a lot, and it like expands. Yeah.
So you're actually going to want to add a little bit of perlite to this if I'm using it for my this would be, see the dust, that's what you don't want. Yeah.
Put a mask.
You just put on a little mask like that. Whatever. Which is what we do if we're doing it in the bucket over there.
Potting soil is mostly going to be like peat moss, a little bit of compost, and some
Now vermiculite, I use as just plain.
and then
As I put I put just a little bit of the perlite in because it helps with the aeration and oxygen flow from the roots of my plant. And if you take nothing away, that you need a little moisture, but as important is having some oxygen in your pot, in your plant, then I will have been successful today.
So of all those three things, is that the most important then, the perlite or the oxygen?
You always have some perlite if you're not using plain vermiculite.
And,
one over the-
so this would just be plain, you plant it directly in there?
If I'm doing a cutting, let's do one.
Okay. No.
Okay. Now, I'm also, and Teresa knows this, the user of coffee filters. I thought you were going to say it, girl. I hate losing things to the bottom of my pot. So I take my old coffee filters and I can drink coffee fast enough that I usually keep up and always have a good store of coffee filters. I would have put a piece of that in the bottom of this, just for a little neater. And I don't need any more probably vermiculite than this, because this isn't going to be what my plant is eventually going to grow into. You're going to have already probably determined either where in the garden this is going to go once it's got roots, or what pot you're going to put it in, or it's a trip to the store to buy a pot.
What's your favorite part, it seems?
Yeah, that's actually my favorite part. Yes. If I can't hop
And who can
on,
buy just one, right?
then I will do the other.
Oh, she's dangerous in the garden center.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to wear my
It's like, I need one for every stage, so we get a couple sizes.
Just in case one don't make it, you need another one, you know? Right?
All right. This is Teresa's unfavorite plant because she doesn't have really great luck at growing rosemary. However, you look rosemary up online, it is supposed to be the easiest plant next to basil to grow. But I had a plant that needed some clipping anyway. Now, you would think that what you would want to do to plant is what we call the woody part of the stem. It's not. It's up here where it is much more green. So,
Andre has
now
good
am I
luck
going
with
to
growing
put
that.
this into the medium looking like it is?
Many things I can't.
Really?
I mean,
I can
No. What you do is whatever goes below the ground or in your water, and these can be propagated in water, they say,
Not easily.
is leaves must be
I tried.
removed. A leaf cannot sit in the water. It will rot and it will, just not make the rest of your world happy. But give it a good spot. Now, the other piece, and this is what I'd not been doing, which I should have been doing, is like we did with layering last week, is you want to scratch this and get down to the green candia.
Okay, that's what I wasn't doing.
That's what I wasn't doing either, honey.
Okay.
Research is always good.
I think it'll help,
And
like,
YouTube
absorb.
videos
Andre to
are
do it for you.
absolutely wonderful. If you've got something specific you want to do, just put it into your Google search or your Safari search, whichever you use. How do I propagate X plant? And somebody has done a YouTube on
Yeah.
it, and they'll walk through all the steps. So,
I actually try that with, like, when you buy flowers at Publix or whatever,
Mm.
and then
okay,
I would go
pass
and
that
get
around. That's
pieces of it.
probably enough.
And I got it to
So you
flower,
see what I mean? Where we've gotten down to the
didn't do anything else.
it's always the hardest part. Just remembering.
Turned out like
Did it work?
You don't want your cutting to be more than 4 to 6 inches in height. If this had big leaves, like I did, we have a milkweed out front, has huge leaves. I took off all the leaves that were on the bottom, And the big leaves that are on the top are cut in half. You want the plant's energy to be going to developing roots, not to holding on to those leaves that are on the top. And part of the signal that you've been successful is when the whole plant starts sending out new leaves. Now, I've tried, this is my 4th time to propagate that particular plant. I obviously have been doing it at the wrong time of the year. I have 4 pots of 6 sticks in each pot, all that have roots. I've not been able to get one, but I've done it in winter, I've done it in fall, and I did it real early in the spring. Plants know when it's time to propagate. Seeds, we know when it's time to sprout. And some you can fool, some you cannot.
Yeah, everybody was asking why our nasturtiums are dying over here, and my explanation was they're done. It's their time of year is done, and when those volunteer to come up, is when you know it's the right time of year. And they volunteer all over the garden when it's time.
Is it like dormant?
Yeah, it goes dormant.
It's also gotten too warm.
Yeah, it's too hot. Things that are too hot right now just aren't going to grow.
Okay.
And you can eat the flower on them too.
Yeah, I did.
Did you try it?
I got some of the seeds, but I planted them.
They do because it's a little bit cooler, although oregano still does really well. I have a thyme that I planted with my tomatoes. It is the biggest, most beautiful one I've ever had.
I can't get time to grow. I've killed 3 in the last 2 months.
Basil,
Thyme
bronze,
has.
morning sun.
Not basil, thyme.
Thyme.
I've had it, and I have it in 3 different spots. People have told me sun, this, that, 3 of them. And none of them have survived. So I just crumbled it up and put it in a jar for spice.
There you go.
I grow thyme. I cannot grow dill.
Dill 3 times in the garden, and something either ate it or it's gone. The whole thing is gone.
Well, the swallowtail does really like it.
Oh,
You may have just missed his caterpillars.
I didn't
Fennel
know
is
that.
the same thing. You basically need to plant 2, one for you and one for the
For
butterflies.
that,
They will
okay.
leave you the bulb of the fennel. They will leave you no foliage at all. All right, so I did another one because I'm not sure where that one went. Now, rooting hormone is also your friend. And some people use it, some people don't, and it doesn't really matter. It's whether it's your preference or not. But if you are going to use it, do not do like you will see on the YouTube where they just stick this end into their container. Because what could I introduce into my hormone? Again, infection. You know, I don't know, and I've been handling this with my fingers and whatever. So take a little bit out, use a small saucer, whatever. I'm using the cup.
How do you have it sticky? I always put so much and then it's nothing left when I put it out.
Do you wet it before you put it in different anywhere?
You can, but this is already wet because I've just pulled the cadmium off, so this one is wet. But if it is not, that's a very good point. Is dunk it in some water and then this is not a good piece, so we'll do it this way. And yes, now the other thing you need is something to make your hole, because otherwise your hormone powder is all going to be up here when I stick it in. So now, there's one other thing I've not done with this yet. Before you put your piece that you're going to propagate into, whether it's vermiculite, whether it's coca-cola, whether you're using a seed starter, I mean that preference ends up becoming yours, is you need to wet it. Now one of the problems with our water systems is we've got just tons and tons of chemicals. So if you can collect rainwater, that's wonderful. If you're on a well, that is also wonderful because we just kind of go whatever. Yes.
I just thought that was weird.
If not,
You could do that.
buy some cheap spring water. This happens to be distilled water because I sold it. It actually goes in the golf cart's batteries. But it was what I had handy without. But it doesn't need to be expensive. But I need to wet this. And it's not going to take very much to wet it. Because it's got holes in the bottom, it is going to drip through, which is what I want. I don't ever want this to be silly. So now, it's retaining its moisture, it has changed its structure. So I need to make my hole. And use a pencil, anything that's sharp. I don't eat with chopsticks, but I do like to collect because they make wonderful little steaks for many things. All right. And then I guess I made this one probably almost 2.5 inches. And I'm putting most of that into the bottom.
Because it's quite a long bit.
Yeah, it is.
And it'll thrive
Now,
like that?
the other trick to help is, this is the other reason.
Oh, excuse me.
Make a tent. It likes to retain its moisture, but it does not want to be over hot. So make yourself a mini greenhouse. Which of these is the best to use for my mini greenhouse?
The blue one?
Because it wants to be set in direct sun or indirect sun? Or indirect light. Indirect light. Indirect light. Because I'm going to put this over the top.
Indirect, not indirect.
So indirect, either indirect light is where you want it. So if you're putting it on your lanai, put it in a place where the sun doesn't hit it, either morning, night, or noontime. Now I have a tent. I could even put 4 stakes in there if I wanted to, but the idea is I don't want the plastic touching my plants. What's the other thing I want? Because what does this need besides moisture? Oxygen! Remember I said there was 2 things I wanted you to remember. Oxygen and whatever. So make it a little hole. Okay? Because otherwise you're going to come out, and even though this will only be sitting in indirect light, it will be all moisture laden on the inside, which is then a fungal heaven. So don't let that be a fungal
So
heaven.
the purpose of covering it is
Retain the moisture, give it a little bit of a humid environment without giving it a rainforest environment. You might not have to water it at all, because some things will require lots of patience. This will probably not root for 3 to 4 weeks. It is possible. If I did the same with this, it's going to be rooted in a week, because these have already got beginning roots and they've only been sitting in water since Wednesday, actually. This is a great way to do it with your basil cuttings, with impatiens, other things that you might decide you want to try. Almost any of the herbs you can do this. Your thyme, your sage.
So with the
Oregano.
basil, are you looking for the green part of the plant
Yes.
also?
Yes.
And then
And you're again taking off all of those outer. We don't have a basil, do we?
I have basil in my bed. Let me get it.
so you just
Oh, I'm
cut the
sorry.
basil?
I forgot.
You basically cut the basil.
Waiting. I'm
take
waiting
out
for my-
all of its leaves and take some on the top. And those I probably only do like cuttings like about yay big. I don't do 6 inches, because I'm going to have to take all, which I can use all those leaves, but still, just going to get some. The other thing I
You
wanted,
do the same thing this time?
you can do the same thing with thyme. Any of your herbs are really usually easy to propagate, and especially in summer. That's when they seem to propagate the easiest, at least. Doesn't mean that they can't, but at least it's the easiest. Okay.
So I have a question. So you're cutting off the green part to do this.
Mhm.
What do you do with the bottom half?
With the bottom half, I could try.
Could you dry it to use it as like?
Oh, you mean to use? Yes, this would
yeah.
probably be layered on my salmon or under my
Okay.
chicken or whatever.
Couldn't you just cut the green part off of the plant itself, like the pot, instead of taking a whole piece, or like a yeah?
I could, but this plant needed a trimming.
The trimming, okay.
So that's why I trimmed off more than what I needed.
Okay.
Plus, I wanted you to see that there's a difference between the more hard stem and the more soft green stem, which for rosemary at this time of the year is what it wants.
And so in you said 2 to 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks,
For this one here is probably a good 3 to 4 weeks.
and then so
Usually.
what are you looking for? Like, is it gonna?
What you are looking for is for it to start some new growth.
Okay.
And for it to start some new growth, so it would start growing here. And the other thing is if you pull,
Like the roots.
it's not going to easily pull. This I can
I
pull
know.
right
I
out.
was like, how do I know when I can pull or when it's dead? Okay.
It's like it tells you, I have survived. Because if it doesn't survive, this is all going to just turn brown. And a lot of people, that's exactly what they do, is they just do them in water. Some people are successful with water
But when do you plant it? When there's a lot of
when it's got a good cluster of roots that are usually about an inch to an inch and a half long. Before that, you know, if it's just started its roots, you're asking a lot of it to then transfer from the water bath that is very happy into soil and now have to move its roots. So let it have an inch, inch and a half.
because the roots are so packed. So when you put soil, you can, I call it bigger pot to death, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if it really doesn't have special fish or something. Water would show it when I water.
Well, if I've got a lot of roots, then I would fill my pot only half full. And I would then try to move the roots so that I've got roots going in all directions. Not all of them are going to, but spread them out. Then I can add more soil.
So it doesn't hurt the plant.
No. You can, the roots are actually the very strong component to your plant. And which is why you don't want this little tiny roots this long that you're now going to take that and immediately put it into soil. You get a little bit of, does make it a little bit more challenging, but hey, you worked hard to get the roots. So, you know. Number one, I need a node. So she cut the stem in the middle, so I need a node. So,
So again, just that side.
got a sharp fingernail, you can use a knife, you can use clippers. After I grate them again.
Here, I sprayed these.
Now, you don't want any of these big leaves. So actually, I would probably take all these leaves off, and those are going to get used in the spaghetti sauce or whatever. So that I don't end up, I am saving it still. That's all right. The energy at this point needs to not be in the leaf, needs to be in developing roots on these nodes. Okay? So, it's actually exactly the same as what we did with the rosemary. Except this is going to be longer and I don't have quite enough vermiculite in here. So it actually would use, where's my container?
Oh, just to be clear, do you need a spray that's
not off from this.
Because it's so green. It's so soft.
So vermiculite,
What do you think?
I did this.
I skipped that part entirely. I just went straight to like the other mixture.
I added to it. You know, as long as you go away that you've learned one thing today, I'm happy.
Learn a lot. Feel everything. Yeah, windows.
Now this one here is not wet. Somebody said, wouldn't you wet it before you put that on? This one, yes, because I didn't do anything except take the nose off the leaves, so I didn't give myself very much. I am because I can't get the root to set into this little cup piece. It's better to do it with a saucer. You can roll it easier. There's also a gel that you can use, and there's also a liquid that the formalin comes in. I've used the gel. It's probably somewhat easier than the powder, but I'm a powder.
And we learned last week that aloe vera, if you have aloe vera plants, are a natural rooting hormone too. So you can cut the aloe vera and open it and use the goo from inside that you would normally use for sunburn. You put that over where you want something to root.
No longer pot. Correct. Wasn't quite. Not quite.
Get it deep down in there.
This one is too much of a baby. Baby.
Is that a tobacco plant?
Yes, it is.
Like, one big one.
Usually yellow.
Is it like chocolate tobacco?
I guess it is. Raleigh grows it for the seed. He has a nursery, and must be people that like to buy his seed. That's all I figure, because he doesn't smoke.
Good for the soil too, right?
It's
Over the summer.
fertilizer.
Yeah. Okay. That should be a little bit better. Should give me a little bit better. All right. Add a little bit more
Just
vermiculite.
taking that one home. Make sure you take pictures so we can see
Only
it.
because I'm trying to use both the notes, and again, you can do the same thing with giving it tent or not. I mean, you don't have to tent. It's just another way. Some people feel they get their propagation a little faster. That it, If you don't, obviously you need to check this every day. Is my soil still moist? No. You want it only moist. You don't want it soaking wet. So just remember that particular piece.
I put this in there too. Is that, yes, I did.
All right. Now, well, a couple of succulents that I thought might need a move on.
Yeah, I didn't know. Now, can you do it if it flowers? If it's
Yes,
got
just
this on
pop off the flower.
break it off?
Cut it off.
Okay. And then I grabbed it and
Yes.
you
So I brought you a couple of different things here.
guys want to take that home?
What these were.
Nice, so it survives. We feel great.
I'll try it.
This is called Mariana, or Marian Calicoche.
Doesn't that flower?
Yes. And it does flower. It sends out a long stalk with little tiny flowers on it.
Yellow one?
And it sends out air roots as well. This thing was covered with air roots. I did cut off an awful lot of them. Succulents, as Diane will tell you, are one of the very easy things to do as well. I like sand. Now, with sand. Sand is a great medium for starting any of your plants in, or mixing with the cocoa coir. But use play sand. Do not use masonry sand. It is too coarse. You want a much finer.
Could I use beach sand?
Beach sand, yes, but
That would have
but it well, they sell beach sand that's been sterilized.
oh,
Yes, but going to the beach, it's going to be full of salt.
I'm not the baking.
no.
You can't bake out the salt. There are a few plants that we found out when Helene flooded with 4 feet of water that are just fine with salt water. Most of them said, no, I am not. I will die on you, which is what they did. So this could make multiple plants. You can. That would look good in the shoe. Yes. But again, you've got to take off those lower leaves. Now with succulents, can I grow endlessly?
Yes.
Oh yes you can. So you basically, if you are a penny pitcher, don't throw away anything as far as your succulents, because all of those can also go into your soil. You can use vermiculite, you can use sand, and I love growing my succulents in just plain sand. I just fill containers of sand, stick these babies in, and when I give it a little tug and it doesn't come out, or it actually comes out of the sand very well, and you can see the roots. Kind of. But these could be tucked into the sand, and I've got a node. That's all I need is one node. And then that can go into my medium. It can go into vermiculite. As I said, you could use the cocoa coir when it's moist. Obviously, your soil always wants to be moist when you put whatever it is you're going to propagate into it.
Doesn't even have to stick out of the book.
Well,
I'm not a succulent. That's just a stick it in there.
yeah.
At
Those
least just
are
dip.
very easy. And the coppertone stone crop. Now this baby is a gold mine here, because he's got one here, he's got one there. Those are baby plants already started. Now, if Diane's putting together one of her succulent pots, well, she's not even probably going to bother to use it, as long as she's not giving it away immediately. Because in a couple of weeks, this is going to have a root in wherever she sticks it. So there's one here, here. Then you pop off the top, you've got another one, and every one of these leaves will make you a new plant. So you've got your gold mine in that one little cutting that I took off on the plant. They grow very quickly. Yes.
Some do, some don't. Jade won't. But when I go to Home Depot, they're always whatever. On the ground, around the succulent. There's always leaves
So you straight up pinch. So you straight up pinch.
That's a cheap hit.
Tell the
Kicked out of
truth.
Home
Tell the
Depot.
truth.
But I do pick them up off the ground.
Yes.
You know. That's
That is
right.
common property, and sometimes the leaf will have broken off. I have one that I haven't looked up its name, but it's a very soft-bodied succulent, and it just likes to fall when it wants to propagate. It just falls. Only it fell on cement, so obviously nothing was going to happen for
Oh,
it.
it'll grow in the crack. and
Yes.
all the mess.
So sometimes those you can find at Lowe's or Home Depot. So again, very easy, and I like using sand, but you could use vermiculite, you could use the coconut coir, and if you could also, do I have stuff on my nose? Because I had stuff on my here when I did this with my face. I went, oops.
No, but if you planted that sideways, that would be really, really cool.
And you could.
You could grow from here.
Yeah. And what I would do is probably take a pin and pin it on. Or you can
submerge it in the sand or not?
Lay it on top.
if you're doing drip root, you might want to have one piece in.
Yeah, you could put a little bit on there.
You have this stuck down and then have your drip root underneath.
Yeah.
Fishing line also works really well, and then you won't see it. also as it grows.
Like if you wanted to grow this around like this is a piece of driftwood. Yeah. You could just put this little thing in the bottom, put a little sand here, and then if you wanted it to grow a certain way, wrap it around, wrap the fishing line right around.
But then doesn't it
That sounds dangerous.
You have a little down here, and then you would have sand here, and it would range for this.
Basically can sit it on the top. I would probably make this end being sitting on the side. Or your soil, your cactus soil.
Yeah, cactus soil.
Yeah, cactus soil is fine, it doesn't have a lot of heat in it.
It would look good with a piece of driftwood, and then you can control it. That would be cool. And you could have it in a really sunny spot.
There's the use for the wooden
That's
ones.
really That's cool. Then I could paint it on.
Yep, then she would paint, she does beautiful painting. See, this guy here has always had a succulent type of plant, so he would be really, really cool. She thinks she wants to paint it first, so to put, you know, you could put these tend to drape as well, so, and that's one of the things that you look at when you're container growing is you like something that drapes, something that is a little higher, and then something that fills in so you don't see your soil.
So this one doesn't go up, but it goes kind of.
Depends. Now this one, if I plant him like this, he's going to tend to grow, then he's going to flop, because all of mine do. But I could start him that way.
And then if you added this, even if you added this in here. Wow, that's cool. Yeah. I have these at my house. I do the same thing. And then it would fill up.
And that's not too tough.
Oh, I would have several more in there. That would not be it.
Is that the
Because
one
they don't
that
have
the one that droops?
Yes.
they're not, they don't take a lot of space.
Very few of them have a big
They
root.
need more space. Because they have such a weed. Not succulent.
Succulents you can crowd. In fact, if you look at containers that people have done, all of the plants are squished together.
Yeah, I saw this hotel.
Well, see, that's your eye, and your eye is different than someone else's who says, "Oh, I don't want to see soil. I want to see these
No,
little
I like to
rosettes."
see them. I
and
just saw
whatever.
the way they die.
They shouldn't. Most times they die because we don't really take proper care of them, or either too wet, too much sun. Now remember, when anything says full sun on the tag, in Florida, that's not what it means. Because our sun is just way too intense. Give it morning sun, noontime sun, or just the afternoon sun. But don't give it sun all day long, because they'll just dry out so fast. And they will die on you. All righty, let's see, what did I not tell you that I wanted to tell you?
The alcohol to use to clean the tools. Anytime you're cutting from plant to plant, you want to use the alcohol in the spray bottle to clean your tools.
Diet.
Oh, Christmas cactus.
Oh yes.
Thanksgiving cactus. And there is an Easter cactus.
Really?
Truly is an Easter cactus. Do you know the difference? Which one is which?
Color.
They bloom in Easter or Christmas or,
Sometimes.
yeah, mine usually does, yeah.
My Christmas blossoms at Thanksgiving, so see, that would not tell me at all.
Actually, Paul, I just got an Easter cactus.
Oh, there is my, from the distance, I hear the expert on
Oh, no,
cactuses.
no.
So-
I'm
I know
actually
the
having a
leaves are
problem.
different.
The one I planted, the front of the house, it's under a palm tree. It loves under the palm tree. The back of the house, it gets sun in the afternoon. I can't get it right. It's either too much water, not enough water, and it's just not thriving. I guess I need to move it.
I don't touch my Christmas cactus. I have it behind a hibiscus.
This is an Easter cactus.
Oh, at Easter.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've never
I don't
had.
have them.
again, the one in the, I just love them, and I don't have the room for them, so I have them around the house. And in the back of the house by the pool, I put one in. It was a big plant, and I looked at it, and I don't know what to do. I guess I just have to move it.
If it's not happy, I move them.
Okay.
That's my thing. And I'm assuming you've got it in a pot.
I do.
So maybe it's getting more sunshine than you think, and it doesn't like it.
I'm gonna bring it in on Tuesday. I'm gonna have you look at it. I'm good enough.
Okay.
That's what I do. I'm like, what did I do wrong? That's Dad, throw it away.
All right. Christmas or Thanksgiving? This has spiky edges. I call them spiky edges.
So Christmas.
This is Christmas. Christmas has spiky edges. I'm hoping this guy plumped up because he was not very happy. This is Thanksgiving. See how much? It's almost like a little scalloped edge. Okay, he's not overly happy. I tend to I have one plant who wants scale all the time.
Really?
Yes. Yes. And then I have found that I can take the very ends that have absolutely no scale on them, but the rest of the plant has to go. I cannot cure it of whatever. Okay, so this is Thanksgiving. It'll look like little white crusties. And it'll start at the base near the soil, and then pretty soon it has just walked itself right up your cactus, and it just sucks it dry.
Really?
Yeah. It's just not happening. Oh. Yes, I have a friend who had a beautiful, huge one, and he wanted me to save it. I have been trying to save it. I think it's just not. And then the Easter cactus is almost smooth on its edges. It's very similar to the Thanksgiving. Only this is even smoother, less scalloping, and sometimes it'll almost feel like it has little bristles around the outside. This is okay. So that's how you know. Also, the Easter has very starlight looking blossoms. And I forget the things. But Christmas, I think, is only red and white and a pink. Where which one did I say that one was? Christmas. And then Thanksgiving is where you'll get the white one, the tangerine colored.
Yeah. That's the Thanksgiving one.
Yes, that's the one that comes in multiple colors. Oh, the metal place? Yeah. Sculptures and metals.
That's my favorite.
All righty. Questions?
I do.
I love folks to take some of these I'll call them more an ornamental ginger, because it's not an edible ginger, but it will put you out a pretty flower and get them planted.
How would you save the plant that I'm talking about, the Easter? It's all droopy and it looks like it's getting shriveled. Is there any way to save that?
It's not overwatered.
No.
There's not a sprinkler system
No,
around.
it's on my pool patio.
Oh, it's on the patio.
Did the cat pee on it? I'm just saying. You know, that's killed a couple of my plants when they were digging in my plant.
He couldn't even get in.
If it gets in there, oh, it's little.
Could I
If
cut it back?
it's not over wet or not too dry, I let mine dry out, and then I water. It's kind of like I do with my orchids. I let them dry out before I water, because I tend to find too much watering is when I get shriveled.
Okay.
And if neither of those seem like the issue, then I would just start taking some cuttings and start a new plant.
Actually, here's food for thought. I also have a Christmas cactus next to it who's thriving. Isn't that weird?
So then there's something about the plant.
Okay.
It's probably time to take some cuttings and save safe.
Now, when you take a cutting to propagate like that, let's say the plant is sick, are you propagating the sick plant?
You might be, but there may be something else going on. But if you're taking the upper cuttings, you're not necessarily taking
The infection.
the disease part.
Okay.
But I would not do anything. The soil would definitely go away. Try repotting it.
Okay, I'll do
Repot
that.
it.
Okay.
You've got nothing to lose at
No,
this
I
point.
don't. I don't.
And take some cuttings. These guys are really easy to root. This could be multiple plants. So I would cut these off, let them dry a bit, so at least a day, so that it forms again that little bit of a callus before you put it into vermiculite, sand, coco coir, or your cactus mix, any of those. Bury it about halfway. So you've got, that's a plant, this is a plant, this is a plant, this is a plant. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 plants off from just that stem. And see, it's already started roots. So it's saying, yo, I'm ready. Yes, those are little roots.
Can you propagate the fennel?
No.
No. Just asking.
No.
Just asking.
Nope, you need the bulb.
Oh, you need the bulb.
You need the bulb.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
not it.
Now, if you had one that had multiple bulbs on it, you could separate the bulbs. And you could have seed is the best way to grow. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yes, it's great. Yeah, we'll usually have some for fall sale, probably more for the spring sale, because it's more of a summer plant. Because if the butterflies want it. They just love this. Those little caterpillars will sit there. They will usually start at the bottom, and they will eat themselves right out of house and home. So that, and I tend to find most of my caterpillars are hungry enough that they'll even eat part of the stem. They're vicious. Now, any of the cuttings and things that we've got here, if somebody wants to propagate for them, you can do that. We've got tons of pots, and that's the purple.
Yep, this is the purple sweet potato. Is anybody interested in this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet
It's gonna
potato.
require water. We're gonna water root.
And I can put it in water, you said?
Yep, you're just gonna put it in water like she's got in the cup, and within a few days you're gonna start developing
I
roots.
tried growing one, I wasn't successful.
Yeah, that's why I
You want one?
It is some
Okay,
water
all right. Does anybody else want a purple sweet potato? I need to go cut. Anybody else? You good? Yeah, okay, all right, hold on, let me go get more.
I feel it, but it's
This is also a calico too.
Or like I'm happy if I get some, but I'm not.
This one is a very different one. This one.
Absolutely.
Oh, there might be some kind of bugs or something.
So.
Yeah, I think she said purple.
Yeah, purple's my color.
I think you were gonna take mine.
No, 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 no.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you want to do this with a piece of driftwood?
People can like make a salad out of it.
Oh, you don't have driftwood.
There's a lot on it. I love your earrings, the butterflies.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Those are good.
Was that you? Almost really Swedish fish.
Oh, what is that one?
No.
What kind of succulent is that? What is that?
This is calico, and this one is called stippled. Actually, he just kind of fell out.
You want one in there, right?
I have a nursery. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, nursery. That's great. That's great.
That's what folks would say is I have a nursery.
Anybody else?
If there is a spare spot, it's gone.
No?
So you put it in the water and it'll have in
I have a
here, right?
juicer.
Yeah, it's gonna make roots down here, and it'll make a big tangle of roots in about a week to 10 days. It'll be really
And I just put it in the
Don't
dirt.
leave me, I'm
Yeah.
supervising the plant.
That's right.
a big mistake.
I didn't ask her if it was invasive.
One's the water.
That's why I didn't grab one. Because you know how like other potatoes,
So
like
pretty.
I think it is because we had one over there. You want to keep that
bed.
You want to keep
Sweet
potatoes.
And I put them together.
I'll put her in a container.
Yeah, you can.
But I got a couple of the sweet potatoes in my bag. Lee gave it to me.
And you just eat the flower.
This is all you do.
You don't even have to peel, right?
Scrape it. No, you don't need to scrape it. You just put it in some water like that. If any of you guys like to do the McCafés from McDonald's, those make fabulous McRooters.
McRooters?
Yes, they make fabulous McRooters because the top dome will hold it up out of the water. And that tends to encourage a little bit better root growth.
How are you?
And if anybody's interested in lemon verbena, if you're wanting to grow lemon verbena, we have that here. You can do some cuttings from that if you want to practice your cutting skills today and your growing skills. We can show you where the lemon verbena is if you want one.
What is that?
You use it to make tea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it makes wonderful tea.
Do I just take like a couple pieces of that one?
She's got it.
I may be able to find you some cuttings.
I think it's rosemary. Rosemary also have some.
Okay, I would go work on the rosemary. I think that's really a brilliant idea. All right, great job, guys. Paula, thank you for your class today. This was wonderful. Great job, Paula. Thank you. And now we want to encourage everybody to stay and play. Enjoy your skills that you've learned here. We're all here to help.